Electrification began at the end of the 19th century, but it really took off during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Fast forward 100 years and here's electrification again, but this time in the automotive sector. And its latest victim... Here's the Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid. This is where you subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss my reviews in the future. I just want to make it clear that by electrification, the automotive sector means not just electric cars, but also hybrid models. These days in Europe, Suzuki offers mainly hybrids. The regular Swift can still be had in non-hybrid form, and the Jimny is not a hybrid. That's if you can already or still find one, because it's leaving Europe soon because of emissions. Everything else is a so-called mild hybrid. In this case, it's a 48-volt system. It's a band-aid for emissions. The carmaker pays lower fines and we, the customers, feel less of the price increase because of this fine. More about the hybrid system later, because you're really interested in how the Swift Sport is to drive. It's great. If not for the energy regen icon and an extra screen on the onboard computer display, I'd never guess I'm carrying additional 45 kilograms in batteries and other hybrid system components. The car is still good around the bends, up to a certain point. The suspension is still firm enough to give you some fun, but also compliant enough for comfort in everyday use. The gear throw is short, the gears engage easily, the engine is eager to rev, and it pulls from down low. Everything is great. This is what the Swift Sport is all about. As far as cornering is concerned, the Swift Sport likes long sweeping bends, but the tighter the turn, the more you have to turn the wheel, and you feel the front tires start fighting for traction. There is no limited slip diff, unfortunately. I don't mind. This is not a hardcore hot hatch, but more of a warm hatch for people who like to have fun, but don't like to flex. It's the equivalent of the 1.5-liter Mazda MX-5. And now for the changes resulting from the use of the mild hybrid. Well, firstly, there is a large hybrid badge on the tailgate, and that seems to be the biggest change when it comes to electrification of the Swift Sport. I'd suggest going with a smaller and lighter badge, saving a couple of grams. The second change is that the hybrid badge replaced the SHVS badge, which nobody could remember or decipher. And it's an acronym for Smart Hybrid Vehicle by Suzuki. Jokes aside, the hybrid Suzuki Swift Sport is 45 kilograms heavier than the non-hybrid version, and that was 80 kilograms lighter than the previous generation. But you're thinking, hybrid means more power, right? Nope. At 129 horsepower, the Swift Sport Hybrid is 11 horsepower less powerful than the non-hybrid model, and at 9.1 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, it's a second slower than the non-hybrid model and 0.4 of a second slower than the previous generation, which was heavier and naturally aspirated. The only slight improvement is the torque, which is up from 230 to 235 newton meters and now is achieved at 2000 instead of 2500 RPM. And this is actually something you can feel. I had 3 passengers on board with some luggage. All of us weighed at least 300 kilograms. I didn't feel the car becoming sluggish. Actually, I don't feel the Swift Sport Hybrid is any slower than the non-hybrid version. I didn't measure acceleration with professional equipment, and acceleration as indicated on the speedometer is not a precise measurement. It also started raining. Here come the racing driver excuses. But the second time round, I got about 9 seconds, which is more or less on par with what Suzuki claims. It's still slower than the previous generation, though. So, what's this hybrid for? Well, for lower emissions, obviously. The electric motor aids the ICE when it's under the most strain. On paper, the Swift Sport Hybrid emits 8 grams of CO2 less than the non-hybrid car, according to WLTP. Unfortunately, I don't have WLTP fuel economy data for the non-hybrid version, so I can only relate to my real-life fuel consumption from a review I filmed a couple of years ago. Back then, the Swift Sport used about 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers combined, and now I'm getting about the same. So the hybrid is here because it has to be here. Positives. The brakes are great, so once you get up to speed, there's a chance you'll stop as well. Also, there's a good old handbrake, so you can turn around like you did back when you were young and you couldn't afford a new car. Negatives. Soundproofing is poor, also visibility is bad in every direction. First of all, the roof goes far over the driver, so it limits visibility when you're at the lights. I know I complained about the roof going too far back in the Jazz, but this is different. The A-pillars are thick and limit front visibility. Seats with integrated headrests limit visibility to the side, and if you push them back, they align with large C-pillars, and there goes your visibility over the shoulder. And the backup camera is only here to be checked off the list of soon-to-be mandatory safety systems. Speaking of safety systems and driver aids, the Swift Sport has adaptive cruise control, lane assist, blind spot monitoring, and front collision warning. The last two systems make sounds and are, in my opinion, too sensitive and too loud. I didn't find the sensitivity or loudness settings anywhere. Sure, I can keep a safe distance, and I should, but that usually means someone's going to cut in front, and then the collision warning system will beep like crazy, driving me crazy. There's also the traffic sign recognition. That's good. Less good is the implementation. Traffic sign information appears on whatever screen of the onboard computer I have it set to, and then the information disappears in a few seconds, so I don't know what the speed limit is. I have to take my eyes off the road, look here, remember what the speed limit is, and then go back to minding the road, which is pretty much pointless because I can just as well mind the road and remember what the speed limit in a given area is. Driving position is high and the seat is rather short. This is not a car for very tall drivers, at least not for long journeys. But the seats are heated. Suzuki offers the same infotainment system since about 2015. It was a good change at the time, but today it feels dated. There is Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, so that's good, but in order to launch it, you have to have the handbrake on. Not just to set it up the first time, every time you want to launch it. Also, I couldn't get the music streaming over Bluetooth to work, and the USB port barely maintains charge in a smartphone. For charging, better get a dedicated 12-volt charger. There are decent-sized door pockets, cup holders, smartphone cubby, not very big, and the glove box is also not very big. Something I noticed in the regular Swift review a couple of years ago. There is a panel rather loosely mounted in the passenger side footwell. Here, it's even more loose. The space in the back is okay, especially for a car this size. Door pockets can only accommodate small bottles. There is no other cup holders. The backrest splits 60-40, seatbelts are on guideways, so they won't get caught in seats when closing. At 265 liters, the boot will require some Tetris skills to use its full potential, but it's bigger than you think. There is one shopping bag hook and a repair kit under the floor. Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid costs €23,200, about €2,000 more than the non-hybrid model. Add €800 for a black roof. When you consider €24,000 for a Suzuki Swift, the €24,650 top trim Honda Jazz doesn't seem so bad after all, does it? I know, different purpose, but the same segment. And how do you like the Suzuki Swift Sport Hybrid? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, subscribe, give this video a thumbs up and press the bell icon just in case you forget. I post every Friday. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one.